Would I choose a parrotlet, a budgie, or a Parrot conure, like a green-cheek conure or a crimson-bellied conure? Which would I choose? Why? And who's this? Hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of the Parrot Bliss Bond. Welcome to my bliss. I have over 20 species of parrots. You can hear my macaw stomping over. Hi, Kailani. She's a Catalina macaw. This is Macy, my Cape parrot. I love parrots. Parrots are absolutely my bliss. I'm the author of the Parrot Bliss Bond. Make sure to get your copy on Amazon.com today. If you're used to hanging out, thanks for hanging out. If you want to get blissed out and you want to hear my comparison between those three birds, the parrotlet, the budgie, and a puria, which would be like a green-cheek or a crimson-bellied conure, then stick around. You want some? No, you're good? All right, she's good. So, what I thought would be so funny, and by the way, this is my daughter's design, the cute little parrot cakes. I'm working on getting it on my website, but anyway, I love that glass. I thought it would be really, really funny to talk to you about the smallest parrot species, the parrotlet, while I had my macaw. And a part of what happens is if I'm back out here making videos, which I really like being out here if it's not too hot, because it's beautiful, it's not quiet. You know, I try to make it so that you can hear my videos and hear me talking through my videos amidst my parrots. And it's not as easy to have the small parrotlets back here. It's easier to have the big monster. So, let's see. I really like for there to be a parrot in my video. So ever so quickly, out of those three, I would say that the difference and the lifestyle difference between a budgie, the parrotlet, and the conure. The conure is going to, I think, be the most affectionate. If you want a lifestyle where you're a little like this with your bird, then it may be the conure. If you want a bird that talks a little, you're definitely going to be better off with the conure. Parrotlets, little male parrotlets can talk, but similar to a conure, they're not going to learn too many words, and they are going to be speaking in their little birdie voice. So it's nothing like an Amazon talking, anything like that. Whereas, well, the budgie too, actually, if you really want to talk, or the budgie's the way to go, because they are on record for like being able to learn the most words. Budgies are some of the best talkers on record in their little budgie voice. But then again, the parrotlet and the conure are going to be talking in their little birdie voices too. I really like parrotlets. I have parrotlets. Parrotlets are feisty. They're full of energy. They're full of life. I would say they're a little more independent. Be nice. And I would say that you can have a really good bond with your parrotlet, but it's not the same as it is with a green-cheek. A green-cheek is just super bonded. I am going to tell you that while I've had budgies, I've never like really had a big strong bond with a budgie, and I think that's probably just me. I have my daughter had a budgie, and we have a couple rescues, and so I let the rescues be together and I just let them be. I am more bonded to some other parrots, so I can't speak as well to address the bonds that you would or wouldn't have with the budgie. I think budgies are so underrated. They are the one parrot that can be found all over the world. They are, of course, Australian, and as such, they do really well like with lettuces and grassy seeds. So in other words, you don't give a budgie a walnut, you know, since the walnut's bigger than their head, you give them things like the parakeet mix and millet and things that are the seeds that would grow in the prairie in grassy lands. And so they do really well, like with little spring mixes, that kind of lettuce, which I really like. They also like carrots if you have lightly shredded carrots, that kind of thing. I think that therefore, you know, it kind of depends on what kind of lifestyle I was after. If, like I said, if I wanted something that was really committed, I think I'd be looking at a conure. If I wanted a parrot that was really underrated, going to be easy to spend money on them because they're not that expensive. So if you want a parrot that is underrated, it's not going to cost you a lot of money, and then you'll have more money to spend on it. And if you want a very smart budgie, I would either get a regular American budgie, or I would pay a good breeder a couple $100, $200-300 for an English budgie that hasn't been overbred. Be very careful not to get an overbred budgie, which is hard to do. You know, a lot of places you go, that's what they have. But the overbred budgies, they're not going to be as strong, they're not going to be as healthy, they're not going to be as smart necessarily, they're not going to live as long necessarily. Now, when you go to a store, you're not going to say, excuse me, are your budgies overbred? And the person selling them is not going to say yes. So you're going to just have to sort of do a little research and kind of see who you think does a better job of making sure that they get quality budgies in, kind of thing. Now my birds are over there and not in the video. There we go. Now I really like parrotlets. I think they are adorable. The pocket parrot, they're so easy to take with you anywhere you go. I do really love them. Out of those species, they are the species I have the most. I can't say enough about them, but when you're someone like me, you have to be careful. My little babies are in a separate room so that somebody doesn't hurt them. And so, you know, that's the only difference. You have to be careful, of course, with any of your parrots, but with the little guys, if you have other animals in your house or bigger parrots, you have to be really super careful. Parrotlets are definitely really smart. Like I said, they're more independent. They're very charismatic. They're very stubborn. And they're a lot of fun too. So they're not going to give you necessarily as much of a bond as a conure or as potentially, I think the budgie could. And that's not to say they're not going to bond, because they will. They'll come, they'll burrow in your hair. They're awesome. But conures are probably going to be the most bonded. Somebody's in a bad mood. You're in a bad mood. Be gentle. The budgie is going to give you, in some ways, the most unique experience because they're so underrated, but they're so fabulous. And I have one person in my YouTube membership who has budgies, and he has some show budgies, and he says they're just fabulous. And so some of the pictures you're seeing are his budgies. I can't speak highly enough about budgies. They're supposed to be very easy to tame, and I think they're just really, really fabulous. In some ways, I haven't had the pleasure of really getting to bond with a budgie. So out of those three, I think I would go with the conure, but you could see I have a Mac monster who's going to eat my phone. Thank you for joining me in this blissful video, and thank you for the question. I love when you guys submit questions. I will see you in the next feathered video.